Let's go. That's where my eyes are right now. But
well, I wanted to ask about BC because they've changed a lot on offensively. Who do they, since you weren't here before and we remember them as that, who did they offensively kind of remind you of?
well, they're what you see more now than ever, just in regards to well, they're a little bit like Florida State. They get two back and they can run the ball downhill, and I think their team is built for that. From what I understand on their recent history, has been a physical running football team, and they got Chase Reddick, who's a terrific player. He's got a big arm, great accuracy, really good player. He must look really bad before because he's really good right now. Why you're not? Because he can throw the ball, and terrific player. So they get into again two backs and two tights, and they're spread it out and get some four wide looks and
So
some
he's
empty
flinging
looks.
around a little.
Yeah, very much so.
You think of them as spread, or are they? No,
I think they're
with two
multiple.
blacks,
I think they're multiple with what they do, and it's no huddle, and they tempo, and they had Miami running all over the place before the ball was snapped. So Northwestern does about one thing on defense, and they do it every single snap, and they do it pretty good, and so they didn't have him running all over. So we'll have to think about doing something like that.
Brent, do you have to do anything different this week or special this week to get the guys thinking ahead like you are and not thinking
young
back on
people,
what
just generally speaking, young people are very resilient. They're going to follow your lead. I think that's where you as a leader have got to, hopefully that's a strength. And again, you treat them like a dog and talk to them like a dog and kick them like a dog. They're going to act like dogs, and they're not. They're a great group of young guys, and we've got some talent there, and they have a great willingness to learn and to get better and recognize where our shortcomings are. And they've taken all of us have shouldered responsibility for the issues that took place, and they recognize that we do have a good football team. Again, if we can improve on the things that we can control, and at times have shown we can control, then we're going to have a terrific season. And the flip side of that is if we don't improve, things could take a drastic change. So I think they have a sense of renewal and understand that you can't. The good football teams, good or bad, week to week, you've got to be able to shelve it, learn from it, shelve it, and go to the next one. And each week is its own entity, and you've got to. There's a process in how you play well, and if you deviate from that process, you're not going to play well. At least you don't have a chance to play well. And we got to give ourselves that chance, and so you've got to again go full speed ahead. So that's the biggest thing. I think there's a strong mental approach that you have to take, and you have to have again as players, as coaches, you can't be fragile in how you think, and you got to be confident in the foundation of what it takes to play well, and you really can't deviate from that plan because they're looking for that. They're looking for, are you going to all of a sudden change full course and change your message, or or are you that again model of consistency in your approach and the things that you demand, and again you got to continue to demand those things.
Brent, we're a third of the way into the season. Is there hope that the problems we've seen in stopping the run can improve?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, without question, and it needs to happen. And I'm frustrated and disappointed. I like to think more so than anybody at the issues, but there's no question that we can, and I expect that we will.
Are these correctable issues, or are these?
Yeah, that's why again
talent issues?
No. I mean they're correctable. You got the foundation, the fundamentals of just playing the game, and it's any game. When you don't have when there's shortcomings there, or one guy isn't doing it, or you step the wrong way, or you get your head out of your gap, or you have bad eyes, or you thought something happened that didn't happen. you know, again, there's so many different changing parts there, but it's whether it's discipline or maybe sometimes you get beat too, you know. Listen, I'm not one to act like, you know, that everything that happened negative for Clemson was, you know, just us and not Florida State. That's completely disrespectful to Florida State and the kind of team that they have. There's the margin for error when you play good people isn't much, and you know, I thought that, you know, there's a number of things that we did through 3 quarters that, or 2.5 quarters that gave us a chance to, you know, to have a chance to win, and then, you know, 5 of our last 6 possessions, you know, or 3 and outs or short fields or interception, and we handled 0 adversity. Well, we never answered the bell on defense, not one time. And we couldn't stop them, had no answers. They had all the momentum, and we couldn't get it back. And, you know, so, you know, there's a mental approach there, you know, the toughness that it takes in that situation. We've displayed it, you know, displayed it in our opener against Auburn, and we didn't have it. And we didn't coach it, and we didn't play with it, and just couldn't come up with a stop there to give us a chance. So there's fundamental issues, there's discipline issues. Once in a while we got, you know, they blocked us, man. They did. They put a hat on a hat and they blocked us, and we got to get off blocks though too, you know. So that goes back to fundamentals too. Yeah, they're supposed to block you. There's a guy to block everybody across the board, whether it's a receiver blocking, cracking a safety, or it's a, you know, it's a linebacker with a fullback. We got to play the blocks better. You got to stay on your feet. You got to disengage. You got to be violent on an escape when the guy's in your hole and you got a guy hanging on. You got to have violence as you escape so you can make a play. And it isn't okay just to stay outside and I have leverage on the ball. The ball goes inside, cross face, and make a play. You know, so sometimes you overcoach them. You know, hey, what arm you supposed to have free? Well, and they ran the ball inside. Why'd you stay out there? You know, we got to get off and make a play. So that's all. Again, comes back to coaching, and we got to get our guys better in a lot of different areas. But again, we ran into a buzzsaw, let's face it, and we didn't coach them well, and at times we didn't play well, and at times we did play well too. And we did have a chance to go on the road and beat a really good team. And like I said, that situation there down the stretch in the second half, we did not respond to adversity, and they did. And they're 4-0, we're 3-1.
John Williams said after the game that he was talking about you, and he said you never want to see that look in your coach's face. Did you get any kind of nonverbal communication feedback from them that told you that, you know, that they? I
think there was a locker room full of disappointment. You know, you invest as heavily as these guys had. They recognized the stage and the platform we were on, and as a defensive unit, you like to pride yourselves on rising to the challenge and rising to, you know, overcoming adversity. And when we have an opportunity to win the game, and it's dependent upon us getting stops, and you know, you have a lead, it's incredibly disappointing. And so I mean, I would have been more displeased had I not seen you know, that reaction. And I saw it. I mean, I don't walk around thinking, I'm glad you're sad, you know, because that's not how you think. But there was a real, again, there's disappointment like you would want to see. And whether or not they see that from me, you know, I mean, hopefully that's what they expect too, you know. I'm not going to walk around and sugarcoat things and everything's okay, you know. That's not how, again, I'm wired. I think a strength of mine as a leader, I do handle adversity well, and I'm able to keep perspective because I don't get influenced. I understand the issues, understand, you know, what it takes to fix them, understand there's a lot of work involved and there's a lot of people involved in order to get those issues corrected. And sometimes it's easier said than done, but at the same time, there's a process, and I believe in it, and it's a very systematic approach. When you deviate from it, I think it makes it a lot more difficult to get the results that you want. And so it's my responsibility to get everybody to believe it and buy into it and do it with consistency that it takes.
What do you thought your biggest wonder? What do you thought the biggest wonder?
There's not one biggest. It's not one biggest. There just isn't. You know, It's just there's a lot of different, there's mental issues that took place, and there's some physical issues that took place, and obviously first and foremost there's coaching issues. Why is that happening? What are we telling them? Why some of the things continue to happen? And so we just got to do a better job, at the get-go as coaches to put them in a better, put them in more successful situations and position, and then get better at all the details of playing well.
Brent, I know you said it's not a biggest thing, but when your front four's not, or front group's not producing disruptive plays, rushing the passer, how much of that is rooted in that?
Well, I mean, I think it goes without saying that, the great defenses out there are disruptive up front, and without that, you can still be good. I believe that, but the other guys got to be really good. If they're not disruptive every play, where they're wrecking havoc on people, which there's not many of those around, in whether it's college football or in the NFL, and the really good teams have it. The other 7 guys, need to play at a high level too. So that always helps. Let's face it, and it's not there right now, and some of it's some maturation, and some of it is sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't, and it's not there with the consistency that you like. And yeah, it'll come. The more we practice, and the more we play, and sometimes you got to fail in order to grow and improve, and some guys got to get challenged, and again, like everything, you want your good players to play great, and you got to get more out of less sometimes, and at some places we're not doing that like we need to.
Are there any options with personnel, or are you so thin in terms of?
I think I'm disappointed myself. I didn't get some other guys that were maybe a little bit fresh in there later. I thought that we were a little bit more fatigued, and it was obvious we didn't, again, weren't escaping some of the blocks with the same kind of violence or quickness, and that comes back to me. And so some of the personnel things, I can get some guys that have shown me that I have trust in them, and to get them on the field in certain situations, and so you can stay fresh. I thought Florida State did a good job of that. I think they're built for that. They've got good, strong depth, quality depth, not just in numbers, but real quality players. I think they've done a good job in developing that. So, we need to be smarter. I need to be smarter that way.
Where's your leadership in defense right now?
I think it's good. I think it's good. I've not been disappointed. Just had that conversation this morning of it would be so hard when you're not having the kind of success that you want if you are having character issues. And I have very little tolerance for that, like I'm sure most coaches do. And that has not been a problem whatsoever. So the best teams that I've been around have been player-driven, and I like the leadership on our team.
Are you surprised that you haven't gotten more of a pass rush out of, say, Goodman and Crawford? I ask because both of them have length, they're athletic, they move well.
I think for us to continue to improve, that has to improve as well. But I can go up so many different things that also needs to improve along with that. They get pressure, and then we're not covering the back to the flat, then you got a problem. It's going to look like we can't let people 3-step all day and get behind us. Because when they 3-stepping and they're keeping 7 guys in, you're not going to get the pressure. They're keeping 7-on-5 when we do bring pressure. You can go 8. We haven't been able to stay on top with the high safety as consistent as we need to. Let alone you can bring the whole team. That doesn't mean that that's going to be the answer either. And so yeah, it starts with your 4. You want to be able to get pressure. If that isn't, you bring 5, and if that isn't, you bring 6. And that's kind of how the old cliche goes. But when people get behind you and you're giving up easy scores too, that's kind of the limit you're in. But when people are having success running the ball too, you bring edge pressure, which should contain a jet sweep that goes for 64. I mean, it just you start. You can start coaching and playing on your heels. So we just got to get better at developing that front 4 and getting them better. And I think they will. I think there's some youth there that they just need to keep playing and keep doing the same things you're doing in practice as far as the development. And and things of that nature. So there's a lot of, again, changing parts that help that, develop too.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Go.
I was going to talk about some tempo related things. I was just looking at like the top teams that have run 1,000 plays since 08.